Welcome back to a timey-wimey pod where we watch every episode of Doctor Who from 2005 onwards. My name's Rebecca.
I'm Haley.
And today we're doing something a little different. Usually we're talking about an episode from series 1 or back in the day, but today we're going to be sharing our thoughts on the upcoming new season with Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson, and we're going to take a look at the 60th specials that premiered last year because they're the newest episodes and we haven't had a chance to talk about them on the pod, and it's going to be so long till we get to talk about them. So we're just going to kind of have like an overview discussion about the Star Beast, Wild Blue Yonder, and the Giggle.
Yes, because there are things that occurred in the 60th special that do provide context for the 15th Doctor's run, which we will definitely be talking about as the series goes on and mentioning. So we just wanted to dip our toes in, talk about these 60th specials. We're not going to go super crazy in depth like we would a normal episode. We'll get there eventually to where we do each of these episodes in depth, but we do want to talk about them. We're really excited for the new series, and we just want to talk all about our thoughts and feelings and what we're looking forward to.
Yes.
We also do want to mention this episode will be full of so many spoilers. So if that's something you want to avoid, you can definitely feel free to stop listening right now. But if you don't mind, keep listening.
So we are just a couple weeks away from the new season coming out. How are you feeling?
I am so excited for the new series. Both of the trailers that have been released look so good. I'm really interested to see how the Beatles episode will come to be, because the other day, I think Russell T Davies either mentioned in an interview or in the Doctor Who magazine that the whole premise of the episode kind of circled around the idea of copyright, because the price of using an actual Beatles song would be a lot of money. So I'm really curious about that.
That is interesting. I feel like we've seen a lot of clips from that episode, and there seems to be a lot going on. So I am really excited for that one.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. There's an episode called Dot and Bubble, and that name just sounds so weird and abstract, and I'm really fascinated to learn.
Everyone keeps saying that there'll be people. I've seen people rank their excitement level for the new episodes based off of the titles and what we know so far, and everyone has been putting Rogue at the bottom of their excitement, and I'm so excited for Rogue because I love Bridgerton, and like Ruby Sunday said in the trailer, it's giving Bridgerton, and Jonathan Groff is in it, and that's really exciting, and I'm really interested to see how he's gonna fit into this universe.
Yeah, it's kind of blowing my mind that people are putting Rogue at the bottom of their list.
Yeah.
Because it looks really good to me, and I'm really excited to see what the storyline will be.
Have you seen the theory that Jonathan Groff is playing Captain Jack?
Yes, I have. And I don't know if I have an opinion on that. Honestly, I think it would be very bold of Russell to do that.
Very bold.
I wouldn't be totally I would be surprised in a moment, but it wouldn't absolutely shock me. But I do kind of feel like he would be like a newer character. I feel like that would make more sense.
I don't think he's playing Captain Jack.
I don't either.
But as you know, Haley, because I told you this months ago, I would be okay with a Captain Jack recast. Hot take, but that's just me.
It would have to be the perfect actor.
Yeah.
Only the perfect actor can make that work.
Very true. It's not an easy job to recast.
No. And if you're a little bit confused or unfamiliar, there's a reason the actor who plays Captain Jack, John Barrowman, has done not great things. So that's kind of why this is a topic of conversation within the Doctor Who fan world. But yeah, I'm interested to see if it's going to be just like a one-off character or if he's going to be reoccurring.
Yeah.
I will say, based on the name alone, I am cautiously interested in how Space
Yeah.
Babies will play out.
I'm a little worried about that episode, but it's okay. Russell does love a campy series opener. Like New Earth, it's great, but it's very campy. Smith and
Yeah.
Jones, kind of campy. Even Partners
I
in
love Smith
Crime.
and Jones.
Oh, me too. I love all those episodes, but they're very campy.
Yeah.
We also recently got some news about season 2 and the companions.
Yes, we did. So it was announced that Farada Sethu is joining the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday in the second. Okay, sorry. I'm going to get in a tangent in a second, but in the second season of Doctor Who in 2025, this is my tangent. Why are they renumbering the
I hate
series?
it.
Just
I
say
hate it so
Series
much.
15. Just say she will appear in Series 15.
If there was a long gap between series 13 and this, like I would get it why they're doing the reboot, but there's no reason to reboot it. It makes it confusing for old fans, it makes it confusing for new fans, and I hate it.
No, I hate it so much. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's because of the Disney Plus deal and all of that. And it's to trying to get like new people interested because they won't want to start off in like series 15, like series 14. Series 1 is more appealing. And to that, I say, you underestimate people.
Yeah. I think
Like,
people are looking for more long form series and television. And yes, some people aren't going to jump in on like a 15 season show, but you never know. And Ncuti Gatwa was going to bring in such a larger audience because he is like breaking barriers with this casting, and he's like, we all already love him from the Barbie movie. So like people are gonna watch if they want to. So I hate it, but it's what it is.
yeah, I agree with you on the series renumbering. I know not everyone will probably see eye to eye on it, but it's just really confusing because you have all the seasons of Classic Who, then New Who, and then wait, it's not even New Who anymore. What do you even call the 2005 to 2022?
I don't even know. To me, I don't want to think as of the 2005 to 2022 era as being separate. I just want to think about it all as New Who. So that's what I'm doing.
I am also claiming that.
Yeah. But back to our new companion. We don't know the name of her character yet, but I'm really excited about this news. I love that there's going to be 2 companions. I love that Millie Gibson is sticking around. Russell even said, I think in an interview that came out today, that her story is going to be like is going to be season 1 and season 2. So I'm really excited because I really like what we've seen of Ruby Sunday so far. And I've been saying the Doctor should have more companions at a time. And I think that's a really fun dynamic when done correctly. Big emphasis on that. Because sometimes it is done wrong and it doesn't work. And then it's bad. But sometimes it's done really well. Like in Matt Smith seasons, like he had Rory, Amy, sometimes River, and that worked great.
Also in series 1 with Jack, Nine, and Rose, that was a great trio.
Definitely.
So I agree with you. When done correctly, it's a really great dynamic, and I'm really interested and excited to kind of see what that dynamic will be. My dream is to have a companion from the past or from the far future. Like, that would be so cool, but that's not going to happen. So she'll probably also be from present day, or maybe not. I guess we don't know.
I know, like we really don't know anything about who her character is going to be, but I guess we'll find out in 2025. Moving on. Are we ready to talk about the 60th specials?
Yes, we are.
These episodes only came out a few months ago, but it also feels so long ago.
It feels so long ago.
So, we are both big David Tennant fans. So, how did you feel when we first found out that he was coming back as the 14th Doctor for these specials. And what do you think of the 14th Doctor?
I was really excited, and my immediate thought and the first thing I said literally was, "What?" I'm gonna be honest, this is something about Doctor Who. Since David Tennant has left the first time, he's come back before the specials, even for the 50th, okay? Ever
Yeah.
since then, though, there's constantly rumors he's coming back to the show, always. So, like,
Yeah.
I saw some rumors, but I didn't believe them until I saw the announcement. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is
Yeah.
happening. What's going on? And then when it was announced Donna was coming back, that's when I lost it.
Oh, yeah.
I literally screamed. I died. What
No,
was your reaction and feelings?
I was really excited when we saw that he was the 14th Doctor. I was a little, oh, a little concerned, a little confused, a little lost, a little questioning my whole life. But I think it worked really well the way they did it. And my thoughts about the 14th Doctor have evolved over time. But I think David Tennant was great. When is he not great? And I loved seeing Catherine Tate. People talk about these specials and they're like, where's Matt Smith? Where's blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, this is the Donna 10, technically 14 story. Like, we are focusing on these characters. And I really liked that decision because I think these are two characters that needed that closure. Like, Donna's original ending is so terrible and tragic and sad for that character. So I'm so glad we got to see it resolved. And I'm really happy specifically with Donna's new ending. And I think Catherine Tate was incredible in these specials. I think she slipped back into the character of Donna so well. And I think David did great too. I think it in Star Beast, you kind of feel him kind of still trying to figure out the character, but I really like the journey that 14 goes through these specials. I was able to see it more clearly through my recent rewatch of like, oh, he is like worn out. He is tired. Like, he's not doing good. So I really, those are my thoughts.
I have varying thoughts. I will say I completely agree with you about Catherine Tate slipping back into Donna. She did it so flawlessly. She was phenomenal, and I have no notes on her other than she did an exceptional job. And I love the character of Donna so much, and I am glad that she has a much better, happier ending now. The 14th Doctor, I have a lot of mixed feelings. I
Yeah.
simultaneously really like that we see this worn down version of his doctor because it is a pretty big difference to the 10th Doctor. Even in the 10th Doctor's hardest moments, it's still a significant contrast between 10 and 14.
Yeah.
So I do like we get that aspect. I think my problem is less that he was worn down and more the ending at the end of the giggle. I think that's my problem more than anything.
I get that. Let's talk about 14's ending at the end of the giggle because when I first watched it, I did not like it. I felt that it was weird. I didn't like the bi generation. I didn't like 14's ending because to me, I feel like the doctor has to be the doctor. Like, he gets through these things by continuing to be the doctor, continuing to save people. But during this rewatch, I changed my mind. I
Oh.
had some realizations. I did some journaling about this in my notes while watching Wild Blue Yonder. Here's what I wrote straight from my notes. I'm coming to terms with 14's ending. At the end of this episode, Wild Blue Yonder, we see how worn down from the past 15 years he is. Plus the years before that, as 10, 9, then the Time War. The Doctor has been through it. The reason I was upset before is because I felt that the Doctor needed to be the Doctor to save people, to to save himself, to be himself. But he needs rest too. It's not the ending I had in my head. It's not the ending I would have written, but it's the ending we got. And I don't know. I just watching these, I could see it more. I could see the story that was trying to be told, especially with now we have 15 and him saying we're time lords, we do therapy in reverse. Like it clicked for me on this rewatch. And maybe it's not the ending I would have picked or I would have wrote, but I understand the story they're telling. And I do think it is important for this character, the doctor, after everything he's been through in his whole life, since the toy maker, since Gallifrey, since everything, to like take a moment and stop and think about all the people he's lost and think about what he's been through and decide how to go forward from there. So I've come to terms with the ending, even though it's not my favorite, but I've accepted it and I'm moving on.
I have a lot of mixed feelings. I mean, I've accepted it because this is the ending and I do not have a better like headcanon idea in my mind to be delusional about. Um it isn't the ending I would have written or picked either. I do think the doctor definitely did need genuinely need time to just like take a pause, take a breath,
Mm-hmm.
and really just like be in one spot and heal. I don't have a problem with that. I think that is actually necessary for the doctor. I just feel the way the ending ended up, it ended up making the doctor more human than alien. Does that make sense? I don't know how else to
Yeah,
describe it.
I definitely see what you mean.
Yeah, and I think I'm just not that I want to say goodbye to David because oh my gosh, before the 60th specials, the conversations me and Rebecca had at length about how emotional we were going to be watching David regenerate again for the fourth time.
I am glad we didn't have to see him regenerate. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not going to lie to you either at all. I am so glad we didn't have to see that, but I am kind of sad that 15 didn't get his regeneration scene, but I do have a small
Mm,
theory in my mind that we will get that eventually at some point, that maybe he'll just be pulled out of his timeline.
I don't know. I don't think we will.
Maybe not. I don't know. I think I just kind of missed that kickoff to a new doctor.
I do want to know what happens to 14. Like after he's done hanging out with the nobles, like what
Like, does he
how
just
does
combine
what
back up with
happens?
15? Like, what goes on?
I don't know. It's maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. I don't know. I love that we got to see David and Ncuti together. Like that's so fun. And how else would we have seen that? And now we have. That's great. My problem with the bi generation, when I was first watching The Giggle, I was like, okay, this is happening. This is cool. I expected them to like re-merge somehow and then like it would just be Ncuti, and then that didn't happen and they just stayed separate and I was like, oh, I don't like this. How's this gonna work? How is there two doctors? And then I was like, wait, there's always multiple doctors in the universe flying around.
Yeah.
And then I accepted it.
Technically, all the doctors are still alive if you really think about it.
Exactly, and we could run
So,
into them at any time.
yeah, so that makes me feel a little bit better. Going
Yeah,
back a little bit to the Star Beast to kind of share thoughts, what was your initial reaction to watching the episode? Like, you don't have to go super in depth, but like, did you like it? Did you not like it?
I remember watching it and thinking, oh, this is really bad.
Really?
I think I was just shocked. But that episode, I've turned around on it. It's my least favorite of these 3 episodes, but I don't
Same.
hate it by any means. I don't think it's bad. It's campy. It's silly, but that's Doctor Who. I love the Meep. I think the Meep is so funny.
It's so great.
Um,
The
the
Meep is
reveal that we all
unhinged.
saw coming, it still shook me the first time, even though I knew it was coming.
No, I knew it was coming. I didn't know how creepy it would be.
Yeah. I loved seeing Sylvia and like Donna's whole family. It
I
makes me so
know.
happy. And I love Sean. Sean's great.
Also, the beginning of this episode when Donna is yelling Rose and the doctor's literally running. I'm like, where?
What? What? So so good. So
I
good.
remember watching that and literally, like, I knew about Rose Noble
Yeah.
at that point, but I was like, oh my gosh.
If Rose Tyler is going to do one thing, it's going to be haunting the narrative. That girl will have people thinking about her years after leaving the show. And I love that for her.
I love that for her. She's been gone for so long and she's left an army of ghosts.
She's so iconic. They named another character after her.
I love it so much.
Me too.
So I wrote in my notes that my official rating of this episode is that it was a solid episode, not the best by a long shot, but for the first time in a couple of years, I have hope and I actually want to rewatch today's episode. Chris Chibnall is not my favorite showrunner or writer, and
pretends to be shocked.
I was about to say, Rebecca, last time I checked, you feel the same exact way.
No, I do. I completely do.
So I was really excited. I will say I do have a problem with the Star Beast. I will continue to have a problem. I don't think I will ever be cured of feeling this way because, okay, 15 years of Donna not remembering anything about the Doctor, and then in this episode, it's literally solved. It's literally solved so quickly.
Let it go.
And such... like, let it go. Like, I'm sorry.
It's just dumb and silly.
It is.
I'm okay with like a quick resolution. Like, I didn't need the whole specials being how do we prevent Donna from dying.
Oh, definitely not.
This whole
not
we can
in
just
that way.
let it go. Like, no.
It felt like a slap in the face, low-key.
It's too silly.
Yeah, it just feels a little slap in your face. I don't mind a quick resolution either at all. I don't think this was the resolution, and I do think it could have been done better, and it could have been done in a less slap in your face way.
Yeah.
That's just my feeling on it.
Yeah. It's a little too easy, but we move on.
We move on, and something too, I think the fact that I knew that there was going to be 2 other specials after this also kind of helped me and not judging this episode as harshly as I would have if this was just like a one-off sort of deal.
What do you think of the decision to have these episodes feel very separate? Because there is a through line. We are following 14 and Donna and their emotional journeys, but each episode is very different. Like, the toy maker's arguably the big bag of these specials. We don't meet him till the giggle. Wild Blue Yonder, very much its own thing. The Star Beast, very much its own thing. Do you wish these episodes were more connected? Do you like the way it is?
Initially, I did. Initially, I really, really would have preferred that there was at least a little bit more of a through line for all of these episodes than there is. But now looking back, I don't mind it. I kind of like having them as their separate episodes because it feels like it's Donna and the Doctor again versus Donna and the Doctor just back for one long special that spans 3 episodes, basically. So I don't feel as passionate about it now. I really enjoy the separate episodes. Wild Blue Yonder is personally my favorite.
Mine too.
It's just such a good classic Doctor Who episode, and I love it. I just love it. I love the campiness of it, the creativity of the know things, the Donna and the Doctor.
So scary.
It's so scary and so creepy, and I just love it. I love it. So I do like it now that they're all separate.
I agree. I love 14 and Donna's dynamic. They really fall back into it very easily.
Yeah.
They're the kind of friends that can fight and then everything be okay 2 seconds later. And I love that. And I loved being able to see more of them because they're an iconic duo. One of the most iconic duos, in my opinion.
Oh, fully agree. They are great. So in Wild Blue Yonder, I don't think we'll talk too much about this episode. Because again, we'll eventually get to this one and devote a full podcast episode to this. Yes. But there is a pretty important moment in that, is it towards the end of this episode when the Doctor blows salt into the edge of the universe?
Yes.
Okay. And that kind of leads us into getting the toy maker. And I can't remember if this is confirmed or just a fan theory, but it's also kind of another reason why things might be more fantasy in this
Mm-hmm.
upcoming series, and what kind of like the goblins that we saw in the church on Ruby Road.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of blaming it all on the salt. That
Me either.
doesn't make sense to me, but I'm totally okay with Doctor Who going in more like magical direction. Like I don't need an explanation for everything. Like with the toy maker, I don't need to know how he does the things he does. Like I get it. He does it. We'll stop it, you know? But blaming it all on the salt is just like why? Like
It
what?
is kind of random, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Can we talk about in the giggle how Trinity Wells, the reporter, is back?
Yes, we love her.
Which, if you don't know, Trinity Wells, she was the American reporter who was featured in series 1 through 4 and Russell's first run as showrunner. And she's back, but this time she's not on a news network. She has her own show.
Oh, you're right. I didn't really think about that before.
Yeah.
We meet a lot of new characters in these specials, characters
Oh, yeah.
that we will be seeing in the new season. And I want to talk about them. So we got Melanie, technically not a new character, but a new to New Who character. And we
Yeah.
got Rose and we got Shirley. What do you think about
Which,
Shirley?
okay, as I haven't mentioned this on the podcast, but I am a wheelchair user. So seeing Shirley be in Doctor Who and have her be an actress that's genuinely in a wheelchair, because unfortunately there is a lot of precedent where there will be actors being in wheelchairs, but they're not actually wheelchair users in real life. And so
Mm-hmm.
to see the real authentic representation is pretty cool. I love how in the Star Beast that Shirley's wheelchair has, is it rockets? What is it? Rockets,
Yeah, it
missiles? I
has
can't
rockets.
remember. Rockets? I want that in my wheelchair. That is cool. And I love how they had the TARDIS have like a wheelchair accessible ramp. And for me, it felt like a very natural and organic integration into the storyline instead of feeling like it was just a diversity token kind of thing, because there have been shows where I felt that way. Lots of people have varying feelings about this. Lots of wheelchair users have varying opinions and thoughts on things related to this, but that was just my perspective, and I really enjoy her character, and I'm excited to see more of her at Unit.
Me too. I think she's a great addition. I love the representation. And I love that the TARDIS has a wheelchair ramp. Like, that's so
Me
exciting. And I love
too.
that the new TARDIS interior is like all ramps. Like, I think that's so fun.
It's so fun. And I do want to say, this TARDIS design, it's not that I didn't like it before, because I really liked it. I like it even more now. As each day goes on, it grows on me more and more.
I think it's going to become one of my all time favorites because
Same.
I loved it the second I saw it. I love that it can change
Me too.
colors. I love how
Yes.
big it is and the round things and it's white and I'm really excited and I think it's going to become one of my all-time favorites.
Yes. I love how like retro the
Mhm.
console feels, but the TARDIS feels modern at the same time. And then there's like an ode to the original TARDIS, and it's great.
I said this to you when the episodes first came out, but I loved the decision with the doctor. He had a new old face, and then the TARDIS had like a new old look because it's very reminiscent of the classic TARDIS interiors in Classic Who.
A small thing I want to talk about. Well, it's not a small thing in the episode, but small thing for us, because I don't want to talk too much about this, but I just want to
Yeah.
say the puppets in the giggle are so freaking creepy. They're so
Oh yeah.
creepy. Stooky Bill. Yuck.
Oh,
It's so
the
freaky. The toy
the
maker's freaky.
the what's the mom puppet's name?
Stooky Susie or something
Yeah, she's
like that.
creepy. Her little like
Or
rhyme.
babies.
Oh, Stooky Bubba's. I don't know. Yeah,
The
the
babies.
puppets are
Oh my.
terrifying.
The babies are more terrifying than any of the other puppets, though, low key.
Oh, it's like the baby angels and Angels Take Manhattan. How like those are the most scary angels
Oh my gosh,
in
you're
that episode.
right. You're right.
I just thought about that. Going back to the characters we meet, we also meet Rose Noble, and I'm really excited to see more of her. There's a snippet of her in the season 1 trailer, so we know she's there. It's kind of going to be interesting to see how they have her but not Donna, and how that is all going to work. Also, Yasmin Finney, I don't know that much about her. Love her, happy for her. I wish they casted someone that actually looked like they were supposed to be 14, because only 15 years has passed for Donna, and her daughter looks like
In her
she could be much
20s.
older. But it's okay, it's fine. We move on.
We move on. It happens all the time in shows, I swear. It's kind of
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah, but I am excited to see more of her and for her to be a little more developed as a character. And we're also going to see more of Melanie next season, and I'm really excited for
Yeah.
that because I loved her introduction, or her reintroduction, in The Giggle.
Me too. I'll be honest, I had no clue who she was, but that's also because I haven't watched any classic Who. But I do love that like a classic Who companion is getting reintegrated into Doctor Who. So I'm really interested to see how her dynamic will play into the new episodes.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And from what I've read about Melanie, because I don't know if I've seen her classic Who episodes. If I have, I don't really remember. But from what I've read, she wasn't super popular at the time, and it sounds like the writing kind of did her dirty. So I love that she's being brought back now and getting redemption. And I love when we get to see people from the Doctor's past. I think it's great. So I'm really excited.
We also got the return of Kate Stewart in this episode. No
Yes.
Osgood, which is kind of sad. I love
Yeah.
Osgood,
Me
but seeing
too.
Kate is always a welcome thing in my book, and the actress did a great job in this episode, especially when the armband was off.
Oh, yeah. That's a great scene. And I love how much she cares about her team. I love when she first comes on screen in The Giggle and she just goes up to the Doctor and hugs him. It's Kate.
Yes.
I love her. She's great.
Also, the biggest new character in this episode, at least, is Neil Patrick Harris as the toy maker.
Yeah.
I just want to say, before Neil was even announced to be in Doctor Who, let alone be playing the toy maker, I have always said for years, this man would be so good in Doctor Who. If there was an American version of the Doctor, he would be great. If there was an American version of the Master, he would be great. If he was the new villain, he would be great. And he's phenomenal. He just has it. He just has the perfectness needed for Doctor Who.
He was made for Doctor Who, and I loved his performance as the toy maker. So haunting, so creepy, so silly, so very Neil Patrick Harris, especially with the juggling. I loved it. And the little master in his golden tooth line is so interesting. I'm excited to see if that ever goes anywhere. And so there's a few Easter eggs laid in these episodes. The Meep mentions the boss, and the toy maker mentions the one who waits. And I find this interesting because we know it is not the master, because the master's in the tooth. So there's someone else who's the boss, who's the one who waits. And I wonder if we'll find out who.
I'm very interested to see. Also, the toy maker says something along the lines of, "My legions are coming," when he's playing a game with a doctor. I am very fascinated if that means anything, or if it's just a red herring, or just a part of the script for the toy maker character, or what. But I'm interested to know if that's an Easter egg for something.
I'm also very interested.
Do you want to know a note I wrote down?
What?
About 14.
Oh, tell me.
I wrote, he's giving Harriet Jones.
Explain.
Doesn't he look tired?
That's so funny. 15 really Harriet Jones him. He said, "You look tired. You need to stop."
Oh my gosh, you're so right. Should I leave that in?
You should.
Okay.
If I had $1 for every time the doctor asked his enemy to stop being bad and to travel with him, and then that enemy rejected him and ended up dying, I'd have $2.
Something tells me it would be way more than that, honestly.
Well, if it was the 10th Doctor, or if it was the David Tennant. But you're right. It definitely happens more than that.
So there's this scene in The Giggle that will honestly forever have me in a chokehold. And that scene is the, well, that's all right then scene.
Oh, that's
that
all
entire
right
scene
then.
from start to finish, it cuts deep.
It does. Because the whole time you're like, you just want Donna to know what she missed. Like, I just want her to be able to see it all, and see what's happened. And she gets a little peek in that scene. And the Amy mention, the Clara mention, the Bill mention, the mention of the flux, all super interesting. Justice for my man Rory Williams. But
I know. I was about to say Rory is forgotten yet again. This is not the first time he's forgotten in the show.
I know.
Moffat did it more than once to the poor man, and Rory was his own character.
That poor man. Rory, I will never forget you. Don't worry.
It's okay. We'll let it slide this one time for Russell, but the next time, Rory, we're coming for you.
We ride at dawn.
I find it interesting, and yes, I am stirring the pot. Granted, I know all of 13 Companions, lived and didn't have tragic endings, but, it's interesting none of them were mentioned in this part of the episode or any part of any of the specials. I'm just saying.
The lack of Yaz, Graham, Ryan,
and
the other one. The lack of mention is a little crazy, but a scene in The Giggle that has a grip on me is 14 and 15 in the TARDIS, and 15 telling 14 he needs to take a break, and him just starting to name things like the Pandorica, River Song, Galapagos, Adric, and I'm like, okay, we're just naming things, but I love it. They mentioned Sarah Jane, which I'm so glad we finally got a Sarah Jane acknowledgement, because this is really the only one we've had since Elizabeth Sladen's passing in 2010, which is crazy.
That's insane.
And then we got a Rose mention, and as you guys know, if Rose Tyler has 2 fans, it's us. If she has no fans, we're dead, because we love her so much. And so even the tiniest little mention is enough to fill my heart with joy. So 15 saying,
and
can
Rose?
You believe Sarah? And Rose. Right after he said, 14 says, I loved her, talking about Sarah Jane. 15 says, I loved her, and Rose. And I just, it was finally said. It was finally said that the doctor loved Rose Tyler. And we already knew that, but it's nice for it to be said. So thank you, Russell T. Davies. I needed that. It was healing.
I needed that too. Russell, you have no idea the healing that took place in our inner 13-year-old child selves.
Exactly.
I wrote in my notes that the inner 13-year-old Rose Tyler stan in me will never die and will always look for any crumb, no matter how microscopic. So this is that crumb. The other crumb were also the rose petals during the dancing scene with the toy maker. I remember seeing the trailer and being like, that's the mention of Rose we're getting. No, yes, I know. That made no logical sense. That was the 13-year-old in me. Okay?
That's so valid, because there's scenes in 12's era where he's holding a flower, and I'm like, he's thinking about Rose.
Rose. I've been there.
It's not even a rose. It's just a random flower.
We will find crumbs where there is none.
Mm-hmm.
It's how we sleep at night.
Definitely.
Okay, here's the thing. Doctor Who has mastered the craft of insane psychotic villains having the most iconic dancing scenes. The Toy Maker is no exception.
Mm-hmm.
We get the Master in Series 3. We get the Master and Power of the Doctor, and we also have the Toymaker in this episode. All of them are great. And Neil Patrick Harris did a wonderful job in this dancing scene, and I live for him dancing along to Spice Up Your World, Spice Up Your Life. Even though people are killed and turned into balls with their faces trapped in them.
Yeah.
Which kind of reminds me of the taco fein a little.
Tea. It reminds me of Love and Monsters. Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
It was. We need to talk about the end of Wild Blue Yonder, because we get reunited with a beloved Doctor Who character, and I'm so glad we got this little scene. It's such a nice little gift. When the Doctor and Donna get back home, they are met by no other than Wilfred Mott, Donna's grandfather,
who was played by Bernard Cribbins. And Wilfred Mott, in my opinion, is, and I know I've said this about so many characters, but I truly, sincerely mean this time. He is truly one of the best characters created in the entire show's history.
He's so great, and I can't wait to get into his episodes more and talk about him in The End of Time. His performance is so good, and the connection he has with the Doctor is so good, and it's so great, and you can see it from both their ends in these specials. Like, the Doctor is so excited to see Wilf again. I love when he says, "Nothing in the whole universe is wrong. Everything's okay." And Wilf is like, the face of springtime. It's I love it, and I'm so glad we at least got that scene with him before he passed. And I love it so much.
I love him so much, and I'm so happy we got that scene and that Bernard was able to do that. Yeah, Bernard in the past has said being on Doctor Who was one of like the best things ever, and you can just feel that joy every time he's on the screen, including this time. So it was a very touching scene that we got to see in Wild Blue Yonder. And I love how he waited outside the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Or like just waited there for the TARDIS to land with the Doctor and Donna.
Yeah. And for him being at the point of his life that he is still such a good actor, and he slipped back into that role seamlessly.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Is there anything else from the 60th that you want to talk about?
Oh, one thing I did want to mention is, you know how in the Giggle, the Vlinx robot looking thing in Unit is showcased? I'm curious if that's going to be like a Doctor Who thing, or like, I know there's been rumors of a possible Unit spinoff. And so I don't know if it's intended for the spinoff or if it's intended for the show, because I do kind of feel like the Vlinx is not innocent.
I disagree. I'm Team Vlinx. I want him to be good. I believe in the Vlinx. Like, I like the idea that Unit is working with like other aliens, and there's like other aliens at Unit that's not just the Doctor. So maybe he'll be bad, but I believe in the Vlinx.
I love your optimism.
Thank you.
Do you have any other thoughts about the new series? Anything you want to say or add before we go?
I'm really excited about Ncuti Gatwa. Rewatching The Google last night, I was like, oh, he is so good. Like, he's so good. He brings such a new energy to the role, and I'm so excited to see what he does next. And I'm excited for next week when we get to talk about The Church on Ruby Road.
That is going to be so exciting to talk about. So don't forget to follow us on whatever platform you're listening on, and follow us on our socials on Instagram and TikTok at timeywimeypod. And don't forget to email us at
timeyWimeyPod@gmail.com.
And with all that said, we will talk to you guys next time.
Thanks for listening.